I don't even cut that stuff out anymore. All right.
I'm Rob.
I'm Tim.
I'm Mandy.
Hi, and we are All School Gamekeepers, All School Dungeons and Dragons.
That's all editions 0 through 5.
That's right. Today we're going to talk about terrain to up your game. I don't know if I was trying to make a rhyme, but it happened.
I think I told my significant other that I was going to come to Tim's house to do Tim's terrain tutorial or something. I don't know. It was alliteration. I can't remember what it was. Triple T.
Yeah.
That's right.
So we'd like to have you be able to up your game with D&D. When I first started, everything was theater of mind. And there wasn't a whole lot of artwork for what a dungeon would look like and what a goblin would look like, other than what was in the monster manual or DM's Guide, Player's Handbook. It just wasn't readily available like it is today.
Also, the monster manual was different then.
Yes, different.
We didn't have cool artwork like we do nowadays.
Different.
Yeah.
Everything's cool now.
Yeah, a lot of the artwork today, some people complain about it, some of the old school guys, but I mean, it's artwork. And it's really cool because, I don't know, there was like this transition of artwork in the late 80s, early 90s with The Amazing Spider-Man with Todd McFarlane. He took The Amazing Spider-Man to a whole new level, and that's kind of like when the artwork changed. And it's just become better and better over the years. And D&D, the artwork is awesome. I like it. Some of it is, at times, it's hard to understand some things if they're putting a whole lot of stuff into it. But usually just like a portrait character or just a monster, it is really good artwork. So
it is, but it's more like most of the complaints I think are it's so uniform, but I mean, like, that looks good, though. When you're looking at a book, I
love the new Goblin look compared to the old 1E Goblin look, where it's just some black and white character of this little creature running at you with a shield and mace. The new Goblins look a lot better.
Yeah.
So...
Pathfinder Goblins are even cuter yet.
With a football head?
Am I not supposed to say that? I love the football head.
Even if you look at the artwork back when...
They're super adorable.
Back in the old, Dritz throughout the years, people have done artwork. It's always different. Every time you see it,
sure.
It looks different. Dritz looks different.
Yes. Yeah. But it looks good. Other than Guinevere, they can't make a 600-pound panther look like a 600-pound panther.
Especially not in the little figure they just came
looks like a little 50-pound soaking wet tabby cat.
Yeah, this thing's huge. 600 pounds is huge.
That's like 3 people, man, or more.
Well, I mean, maybe, but, I don't know. You have to, you need pictures, next to a tiger, and then you're like, okay, how much does this actual tiger weigh? Because sometimes I'm surprised, by
I would,
dogs. My dog, weighs 55 pounds, but she will knock you down.
Well, I'm not saying next to a tiger as a comparison.
Come on, Tim.
No. So... But we wanted to bring to you today types of terrain and types of minis.
I'm going to derail all of this.
That is available for you for every budget of your game. I mean, some people are just getting started. You may not have a 3-figure salary to back your addiction. So, I mean, I don't.
You're going to get bankruptcy court to bag,
Yeah, buy it all, then get bankruptcy. No. I sold it all.
Don't do that.
No.
This is bad advice.
We're going to start out with, Mandy's brought some UDT terrain, correct?
Yeah, from Professor Dungeon Master and Dungeon Craft.
Right. We'll have a link to that in the description. Remind me. That way I can get it in there. I forget about things. But this is all handcrafted, correct?
Yeah, and I just started last year.
Okay.
Crafting my own stuff. Before that, I still used my cardboard second edition, the little cardboard pieces that I lay out. I should have brought some of those because
tiles.
Some people are they are tiles, but just barely. It's more really thick paper. It's like cereal boxes with
I've got some of that too here.
Wood grain. No, yours is still that is so much better than the stuff that I'm telling you, this stuff is old, man.
Okay.
We had Papercraft back then too, but it was just
But it works, right? It worked.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it worked. I mean, The one thing that like I will say about those, and like now they have the big boxes of tiles, I think,
Right.
that you can buy, and they're like double-sided. And the nice thing about them is that they are double-sided, and that they are a little bit heavier, and they're that's the official D&D stuff. You know what I'm talking
Yeah, I
about?
don't talk about. I've got them. They're boxed up
Somewhere,
for the
but-
move.
Right.
Um,
But I think they also, I think you can wet erase on those, which is kind of nice. But
Yes. It's
uh,
not something I would do, but you can do it.
I mean, yeah, but to me, like, after having terrain setups with, like, 3 dimensions, that's a game changer.
Oh yeah.
So,
Anything other than like the paper and pencil and the graph paper is definitely
which is what we started out with, yeah.
right. So well, let's start. Show us what you brought,
Okay.
and if you could give these people an idea of how much you've got into it.
Okay, yeah, sure.
That way,
So this is $1.
$1.
It was $1 for a piece of foam board.
That's the stuff right here.
It's exactly that. I ripped the paper off the back. I was watching television, and I took a straight edge and made all the planks in with a pin. And then I took a wire brush and made the texture. And
It's
you
like a
can
lot of detail you put into it.
you can feel that. I mean, it's
About how long do you think
this
it
was my
took you?
first one. This is my very first one, and it took me probably, I don't know, altogether it. I mean, that's kind of hard to gauge because like I had to wait for paint to dry and stuff.
Okay.
And Mod Podge and all that, because you don't want to spray paint foam.
No.
It
The
will
aerosol
destroy it.
propellant in the will destroy the foam. Yeah.
Now, Black Magic Craft did have he has some ideas on how far you can be away from foam to actually spray paint it, but I'm still not brave enough to try. So
I don't blame you.
So some of those crafters have figured out different ways to do these things, but the Ultimate Dungeon Terrain, the nice thing about these is that or the Dungeon Pizza, as Professor Dungeon Master likes to call them, it's his thing, is that you have a little bit more of mine are kind of warped, so one, like I said, I just started
That's
last
just
year.
from the humidity, though, right?
But this is from the humidity, and I can flatten them out if I need to. But you have these inner circles, so if everybody's in the inner circle, they are in melee range.
Okay.
On the outer circle, you're in, you're in ranged range, and then outside here, you may be, totally out of the room or whatever.
Okay.
That's cool. I like that idea.
I always wondered why they used the circles, and they seem to be 3 sections to it.
Yeah, that's his way of breaking it down. You wouldn't have to use it that way. I mean, depending on the size of your room and stuff, but it is to make combat faster and not have to worry about tedious little things like grids. I personally I don't mind playing on a grid, and especially if you have a GM that's very nitpicky about within 5 feet or whatever.
Right.
If they're always gonna, take advantage of those things, then I don't mind a grid at all. But I mean, me as a GM, I'd rather not look at the grid. So I personally just go without it for the most part. I might have vague things. Here's some lava that I did that was this is all trash. So it was stuff that it was either going to get repurposed or pitched, and so this is what I started doing with it. And
So what is the lava made of?
it is just layered up paint, and and then I used clear coat Elmer's to make the cracks and stuff in it.
Okay.
I'm okay with it. It's not spectacular or anything, but
It works.
I have this one that I'm really proud of. That is my Desert Temple one. That's
Okay. And you have grass on the other side.
And I have, and that's just train grass that got glued on there. Again, because that's just double corrugated cardboard, if you can see that. So.
So you just use cardboard, you use foam core.
I use whatever.
So if it's in the trash, you could probably use it.
And that's the thing is so a lot of these crafters they really make a lot of trash too, because they're using this expensive XPS foam, and you can totally do that. And then you can use the little scraps and the cutoffs and everything to make all kinds of scatter or whatever.
Okay.
But you could also, for me, I'm man, I have a lot of single-use trash. What can I do with it? And so I guess I'm like just enough green-minded to start going, okay, well, let's turn it into something. And even if it's like a one-time thing before it gets recycled, that time, you know what I mean? Because like I have a couple puzzles and stuff that I made that that will probably only be used once or twice. But yeah, there's no edge, so you can like set it on a Lazy Susan. I have a Lazy Susan. I did not bring my Lazy Susan.
Okay.
But and then just spin it
That is really good. I mean, I like it. And they don't have to be 1-inch squares.
And you
I
can
mean,
still use your like scatter.
look, see, and the minis, they go on it really well.
I like that.
You know, these two guys are in melee. This guy would be in ranged of both of those, so that makes it easier.
Sure.
The kobolds are out of the picture, the paper ones that I've got here.
Yeah.
You know, so
Hey,
I mean,
have
they would
some
be
of
able
those
to
too.
attack
Oh, wait,
him.
I think mine are triangles.
You know, these are from Print Your Own Minis.
Mine are from a book, and you had to cut them out. And
I got the
Only 30 years
PDF
ago.
and took it down to the UPS store, had them printed out, and cost me like $1. I got like 10 kobolds.
sure. So, but because I use trash, it only cost me like $1 to make stuff like that.
Right.
And I mean, whatever your paints are, but I mean, I use craft paint. I'm not using Citadels for this. I'm gonna use the
Citadel's way too expensive for this.
50 cents to $1 craft paint. And I make my own wash and just use that for this stuff.
It looks really good. I mean, so I mean, people can make terrain if they want to go with the UDT for under a couple bucks, and they can keep using it all the time. I'm sorry, I was looking at you, Carl, and not the camera. But it's kind of But anyway, they can use this UDT multiple times. I mean, this is a 30 by 30 room. Could be a 50 by 50 room. Whatever. It's just whatever your DM wants to use it for.
And you can, if I would have brought like that kind of scatter, you can even put the door out here. It can be a huge room. It can represent a big space. It can represent a smaller space. So.
All right. See you in a little bit. I ain't afraid to talk on camera.
I mean, we're not going to try to be a perfect polished show like some of those other ones. We're just two regular guys doing a show, and
with guests.
If we do blunders, if we don't pronounce things right, that's all right. Just,
I like the paint that you've done for the lava. I am scared of trying to do lava.
Dude, I am scared of my first attempt at lava. This is the reason why this guy was almost scrapped. It is actually like it was glued on. I wish I could have showed you the other side. It was so bad.
I can see some like bleed.
Yeah, no, it was so bad.
Or something, but,
yeah, this needs to be like re-glued.
So.
But it was really bad. It looked like a condiment river. It was like ketchup and mustard.
I think if your character's on this, he's taking damage from fire damage.
If you're on that, you're a damage rate.
Yeah, but see, I have ripped up cork that is painted black and you can put those as like magma pieces all around.
Okay.
Obsidian pieces or whatever.
That is it's so good. I follow them on my Facebook page, the UDT, but I've never got into it because my fingers are in so much 3D printing. So much other stuff.
I think sometimes you you do whatever is convenient to you, and I really like the idea of mixing everything too. So like when I put my DM Scotty trees on the table, with the playable surface area and everything, they're pretty sturdy on them. But when I put those on the table, I put my other trees on the table too.
Okay.
I don't like just exclusively do one thing. They look better when there is a bunch of mixed stuff on there, you know?
Okay.
So.
All right, so I like them. And people, you can get into making your own terrain and upping your game for next to nothing. It works. I mean, you don't have to throw it away. That's up to you when you're done with it. It's like...
Just don't do what I did and store them in a dumb place. You need to store them...
Cool, dry place.
Yeah. And flat.
If you're a comic book collector, you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah. That was my bad.
Don't put it on the porch where it's wet. All right, so we'll put those out of the way. Next, I want to... What did you bring us to look at?
Oh, I don't know. I brought just random trees and stuff. scatter and.
Is this all stuff that you crafted?
Yeah, this
Great,
is just
that's
stuff
great.
that I made.
So it shows you what you can actually do at home, and you don't have to buy them.
Yeah, you don't
Right.
have to buy this stuff.
You can
These
make your own.
guys are like a couple of the DM Scotty trees. They are from DM's Craft. I can't take. Can I borrow your minis?
Yeah, sure. Take whatever
Sure. So,
you want.
like, then you can have somebody, waiting to ambush up in the trees, and that's totally fine. And if you put those out there,
Let's bring these more over towards the center, just
yeah.
in case because
I don't wanna break them.
my tech guy just left for a little bit.
If you put those on the table with a bunch of other terrain and stuff, or like I made mats too. So and these are just like kitchen mats.
Okay.
I don't know, like.
So just regular kitchen mats that you can pick up at.
I got at the Restore for like $4.
Okay.
$4. And mine has a felt back on it because my table is.
It's heavy enough. It lays flat.
Yeah. There's a little bit of damage there, but.
So you kind of painted it green there and some other those colors.
So you have your trees on there and if you had. I murdered everything.
That's fine.
So yeah, if you and like I said, when I do things like I have my other trees out too, so I would have my
Definitely more trees.
yeah all the trees and
Excuse me.
and like I have this actually lights up, but the light compartment came out of it. I guess I didn't really realize that when I threw it in the box, so I must be still.
What's the skull from?
Just a Halloween decoration, and
Okay.
it's all just trash foam. And this is
Okay.
like not XPS foam. This is just trash foam that I stacked up on top and Mod Podged the crap out of
So
it.
you can probably pick this up like at Hobby Lobby or Michael's or something, the skull thing?
Oh,
Is it
not
Halloween
even
time?
close. Like, we're talking about Dollar Tree.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Like, I would never pay, like, $15 for a skull that I was just going to spray paint. Nope. Like, cheap, because...
Right.
And then it's also, the cheaper is better on these guys because then you can cut into it more easily, too. So, like...
Right.
At least
I get you.
As far as I'm concerned, like a lot of times, even with the XPS foam, people sometimes they'll buy the heavy duty stuff from like Walmart or whatever.
Right.
But when they go to peel off the backing won't come off.
So something like this could actually be cut out of a display of something else.
Yes.
Oh, I like the skull, but the other stuff on there, I don't want that. So I'm going to cut that skull
Yeah.
and use it for something like this.
Yeah.
Hand me that piece of foam there.
This one?
Yep. This is my first piece.
The grass on the field?
I just
Nice.
put grass on it as a. I got a map that I made for a project that I'm working on,
Sure.
and this is a grotto that the Goblin band is made their camp up against. So I'm like, I just use some foam and a foam hot knife. I use some craft paint, some grass from the train store. So I've got that. I want to put some trees on it yet. Those are all at home at the other house, packed away.
I haven't tried making my own flocking yet, but I know people do that too.
But it's kind of light, and
Sure, it fits right in.
there you
go.
my gray's a little bit too
Yeah,
light
yeah.
compared to yours.
Yeah.
Yours looks really good.
Um,
Another skull. Now, was this
Yeah.
from?
So no, these are so anything like this is like I
Plastic?
bought it at the Dollar Tree, or like clearance Halloween. Like
Okay.
I paid anywhere from 50 cents to $1 for this.
That's
All right.
good.
And again, all of the other stuff is going to be recycled as far and I don't know if you noticed that on the top, but there is like.
Okay.
But these guys, like, I made several of these, so I have quite a few of these, and it's just a bag of skulls that I got off at Amazon for a different project that I was doing.
Okay.
And I just used a few of these to, like, I don't know, look like monuments or something, and I figure I could come up with a puzzle that has something to do with these skulls and,
Okay.
like, their placement or where their eyes are looking, or if you wanted to put magnets inside of them, that would be super easy. You'd have some jewels
Right.
or whatever. I don't know. I like interactive terrain too, so that's just me. But
Right.
yeah, I don't know. I have all kinds of stuff, but
Well, it's cool. I mean, we can show people. We want to show people this so they don't have to. I'll start moving stuff off to the sides
Sure.
And
Now I have a whole bunch of these too, and like these were made out of like the pads that you kneel on for like gardening.
Yeah.
Or
Okay.
like yoga mats and stuff. You can use that, like the thicker ones. But at the Dollar Tree, again, Dollar Tree, don't pay more than $1. And then I
you just make rock slabs and you stack them.
Right, and so I have a few different ones. I have a lot of these. Again, I just brought a few to show you that, like, yeah, you can stack them. I can make a cave entrance, right? And have a different cave entrance, and maybe there's like some guards around or whatever. I didn't bring any of my stumps. I have stumps like these too.
Okay, now, I was going to ask about the trees. What are the trunks made of?
So those are just toilet paper rolls.
That's what I was thinking. But everybody uses toilet paper, right?
They're just toilet paper rolls, and I happen to have some paper towel that was really textured nicely, and
Okay.
I even recycle the paper towel, so like it's not single use, and so the paper towel, anything that gets used for like wiping off my brushes or whatever still gets put in the bin for paper mache or for like any of that stuff. But yeah, so these rocks, one side I put the grays and the browns and whatever, like the really muted normal tones, and you can't really see the other side. But the other side is my like underdark colors of the purple and some greens and some whatever. If I wanted to, you know. So there's just a few
That's a cool idea. I mean, you're trained for different uses and or different areas.
Sure. These aren't finished yet. I have a whole bunch of these too, but they're like jungle plants and stuff that I was working on.
Okay.
So some of those you can tell, like this is just flowers that I cut off.
Okay.
And these were like, I took the spindly parts of like the fake plants or whatever, and dipped them in those little stupid foam bead things, and dipped them in paint, then inks.
Ah, okay.
These are clearance carrots from the Dollar Tree. And then they have like, I just use hot glue to make roots and stuff.
I mean, these roots look really good. It kind of reminds me of the cypress trees in the swamps.
Well, that's kind of what I was going for, is it's like jungle, they're not perfect by any means. These are like fern plants from the Dollar Tree.
Well, they're better than graph paper, that's for dang sure.
They're better than graph paper. This is what we're saying to you. You do not have to be a master crafter. I am not.
Yeah, she's only been doing this stuff for a year. And
look in the bottom of that too. I want to tell you guys that. If you ever want something sturdy on the bottom, I wish I would have done all of my terrain in this. If I would have done the trees in this, they wouldn't be any long at all. It is the sticky back dollar tiles from Menards. You can go buy the tile and just cut it out and just.
Yep.
And they're so like hard and nice and great. I love it.
That works.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, and you know, this is scatter terrain. I mean, you're like, okay, you see this cliff and there's some plants around it, and it just gives people, it lets them get immersed easy.
It gives your rogues a place to hide without you having to like go, them have to go every 5 minutes, like, where is this again? How close am I? Yeah, it's right there. Same with the trees. It gives you this, like, a function over, like, beauty, absolutely. But,
it works, and it's very inexpensive.
Sure.
Yeah, this all reminds me of them pool master shows. They make a swimming pools. That's what all that stuff reminds me of.
I mean, you're into gardening. You're a gardener, aren't you?
No. Oh my God. I am the worst. Like, I kill everything. I kill succulents. No.
I don't know much about plants.
Here's what I can do. I made fake plants for the front of my house too. I did. I'm not kidding.
Fake plants for your front of your house?
I want to take this crafting to a whole new level. I want to make giant fiberglass dinosaurs.
And they were saying, "Oh, you're such a green thumb. They never die."
They'll be like, "Oh my God,
you win the
awesome.
Elkhart Green Thumb Award."
Yeah.
I'm just like, yeah. My neighbors are like.
Controversy. Someone says it, figures out that it goes up, touches it. Hey, these aren't real.
I'll get over it. Ooh, this is lights up.
Yeah. So and this guy does too, like I said, but the thing is interchangeable, so I must have dropped the bottom part out of it because his eyes light up. So.
All right. So we're looking at ice cavern stuff.
Sure.
Oh, look, tile on the bottom. This is some foam.
Just
Hot
regular
glued together,
foam.
looks like.
Yep. Just
Yeah.
I have some with icicles and stuff on it too. I just grabbed a couple at random. I just kind of forgot that I had icicle ones, but
and this is twist in to turn the light on.
and it must be like a teal thing, right? Because you did the same thing. You did the
Yeah,
same
it was like, I think it was called Aqua from Hobby Lobby. It's like $8 a can though when I bought
had
mine.
super old house paint and that I just had laying around, so I was like, you know what, I'm going to use this for something, so it got used for that, and then also for my ice mat too.
You just have a
Yeah, I got glitter.
Yeah, I definitely have glitter.
well, ice is glittery when hit with light.
You know.
How do you get the glitter to stick to it?
It sticks to everything, dude.
Glitter?
Yeah, it sticks to everything. No, this was, I actually, what I did was I painted it the teal, and then I used a piece of cardboard and just, like, at different angles, sprayed it with the white to get the, the kind of gradient. And then I went over the whole thing with glitter glue, and then I sprayed it with the coating.
Okay.
And these have to be, like, obviously they have to be touched up. Like, they might have to be touched up if they're rolled up for a while.
Right.
Or not. You can just put terrain over it. It's, like, probably not going to do much. Use a magic marker.
But it lets people up their game for just a little bit of money.
Cheap. I mean, when I saw those at the Restore, these kitchen mats at the Restore for like $3 or $4, I was like, they're a really good size. Because, I mean, if your battle is bigger than this,
You're fighting TMS.
you're fighting something that moves way faster than your average party.
Yeah.
Right.
And so, like, it's a good size. These are felt backed. I'm sure you could find them anywhere. Like,
So they're not going to slide around very easily.
Obviously, these were just cut, but they're not. It's not going to fray or whatever.
Yeah, this starts far from the spectrum for me. I use a bargain basement dry eraser board for my bi-weekly Wednesday games, and I got separate camera on there showing the guys where they're at.
That's where we started out in the. We played in the 80s, and we had graph paper. But then we moved to dry erase, and I had a mat that had 1-inch grids on it. And it was, I don't know where I got it. My uncle got it at some hobby shop. And we used dry erase on it, and I would clean it off, and I would draw a cave, it's so big, and this is the entrance. And that's like, oh, man, this is so much better than the graph paper, because graph paper is only 8.5 by 11. Like, well, I need like 10 pieces for this big epic battle, like we're going to fight 6 dragons.
Yeah, that's why I use my notes on when I do the other shows. I make my whole thing, it's about that size, that one over there, Drake. And I get it filled with notes for the show, and that's why everybody will see me looking at my notes and stuff.
Right.
Like I said, we're not going to be a perfect show. We're not going to try to be perfect. You're going to see us looking off camera at our notes.
We just want to help the viewer have a better game, be informed about what they can do, and not be belittled about it. Like, you get in some Facebook groups, hey, what's the best kind of terrain? The guy with 16 3D printers is going to be like, yeah, you got to have this, and this, and there's the guy that
we all want Dwarven Forge. Dwarven Forge, please sponsor us and send Tim a whole bunch of free stuff.
That would be awesome. Because I would share.
We all want that stuff too, but I mean, it's not always feasible. And like, even for me, like, this 3D printed stuff is amazing. Like, I am just like so in love with all of these pieces. I would totally use these at my table. I
got into 3D printing by accident. I was looking for Reaper miniatures, so I went to their website. Oh, they got a website and they can order. And I'm looking for minis, and there's this header across the top of this Kickstarter for Dragon Lock, Fat Dragon Games. I'm like, what's this stuff? I click on it. Oh, they got a Kickstarter. Okay, I have no idea what a Kickstarter is, but it sounds cool. So I followed it. Or put a tab so I could always go back to it. And I keep looking at it. Oh, it's got 12 days to go, 10 days to go. And I'm like, man, this stuff looks pretty cool. Well, I'm only going to back like $40 worth of it because I don't even have a 3D printer at this time. But I'm like, this would be cool because...
And now look at you.
Now I got like... I think I had 9 3D printers at one time.
Oh my gosh.
But I think I'm down to 3,
so good.
4, 5, 7.
Is this something you printed?
Yes, I 3D printed this.
Now this is a medieval coal-fired pizza maker oven.
Yeah. This is a burrow entrance with 2 trees. I think this was by EC3 Designs, Evan Carruthers. It's you can download off Thingiverse.
Thingiverse has a lot of stuff.
A lot of free stuff. I always go check Thingiverse every couple days.
Now, how easy is it to like scale it up or down or whatever?
Hit the scale like in Cura. You hit the scale icon, and it's at 1% or 1 to 1. You just go change that to like 3. This will increase it 3 sizes.
Wow.
Or you go like, look, I've got a maximum.
70 hours to print, but hey.
Yeah. Or if like, okay, each one of these tiles is like 51 millimeters. I want them to be 45 because I got a table space and I can go so many this way.
Sure.
You could just go in and replace that 51 with a 45. It scales it down. Bam, just like that.
Nice.
I print these in double size and half size. I sold a bunch to a guy, I think it was in Pennsylvania, all at half size. And because I was starting to do Under Mountain. Mm-hmm. And I printed like the first 6 rooms of Under Mountain, and I'm like, we're starting to fill this table up, and I'm like, yeah, I'm not going to work with that.
And you had like that well thing where...
I had the
it's where you put your hand
the
on it,
yawning portal.
disintegrates or something or whatever.
Oh, the mouth, the Tomb of Horrors, the demon mouth that,
yeah.
you know, and, but I could print it at any scale I want. Like the one over there against the wall, the dwarven thing is this thing here. Probably print it twice the size.
You have no idea how much I love that.
Once I paint that, it'll sit
amazing.
here and it'll be the prop to the show. I can still print one. It's not. I can print more of them. I've got printers, but did you bring us anything else? Because
I kind of like threw everything.
I don't want to take over here now.
No, you're fine. I'm like.
But 3D printed.
I don't care.
I want to. Okay, before I get into 3D printed stuff, I want to talk about Papercraft.
Sure.
Hand me all that paper stuff there. I use the Fat Dragon stuff because, and I've done some of my own using. God, remember the program
a friend of
itself.
mine gave me some files or something that they did. I haven't printed any of them up, but some of the buildings look really intricate. And
This is their 2D line. You just take.
Nice.
This is the cavern. And you could put that there. You can turn it around. You know, you like.
If you had a laminator, you could probably. I mean, I don't know how you'd feel about that, but you could probably just laminate it and then cut.
Well, I do have a laminator, and I've laminated some maps that I made.
Hey, look at that.
I did a barn. This is the lower level to the barn. I created this in Dungeon. Oh man, I can't remember the name of the program. It'll be in a link and it's on Steam. I bought it through Steam, and you can darken the lines, you can change the shades. But I made a barn and stalls for the horses, lights hanging, feed bags, stairs going up, and then the upper level where there's 2 beds where the blacksmith and his son live, and they take care of the animals. But I made this for an adventure, and I laminated it because I printed this stuff off my inkjet, and it's really thin paper, and it's just not going to hold up, so I laminated it. This is on 100 pound. I did it at UPS store, and it holds up a lot better. But
even then, if you laminate it, though, you can totally write on it with wet or dry
Yes.
erase marker, and
right.
you know.
But I made a map of like 12 of these, and then I just took packing tape and I went across it to seal it. It was a lot of work, but I got a lot of packing tape to sell a lot of stuff. So, but I made that for 2D, and it works. I mean, because it's got 1-inch squares, so you put it there, and you're like, okay, the wizard's there, the ogre is outside the building, and it gives the players a perspective. Again, it's bigger graph paper, but with colors, and it allows the people to help. I mean, if you can't envision the battle, this helps them so much easier to.
Like, literally, even like you were saying with the dry erase, your dry erase board or whatever.
What's up?
Because we use this in your trademark Blackberry Cobbler module, and we use this where the ogre is in there and stuff.
Yeah.
And we had us. We're going in here, and then actually the ogre was outside moving around, and we moved around to different parts. It came through a different door, and he was already came in through a different door. So that's when the encounter began.
In the storyline, the party comes into the barn, and the ogre breaks in these double doors, and he confronts the party, and there's all these scared horses here. So you have to worry about, okay, you got this ogre's going to swing this massive spike club, and these horses are tied in their stalls, and you're like, oh, horses can be injured. We need to take this outside. I mean, it's just it. I write adventures that pull on people's heartstrings because, like, back in the day.
Peasants, they wouldn't care, but since they're horses, they're like,
Well, I mean, if you affect a person's animal, their
Dog,
pet,
yeah.
or their children in a way that you pull on heartstrings, like part of the adventure is one of the children went after these goblins, and the mother's like, "Get my daughter, bring her back." And people be like, and the players are like, "I got kids. Yeah, let's go do this. We got to go rescue. You don't."
Yeah.
I try to give an adventure that, okay, there's 500 gold if you go find my daughter. That's bull. Most people would go find a kid to help out other people just because it's the right thing to do.
You hope so, anyway.
Well,
Yeah.
I mean, you got people out there that like animals a lot more than they do adult strangers.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't met a dog I don't like, but there's a lot of people that I don't get along with at times.
That pet's more important to me than some stranger.
Also, they have dungeon tiles from Fat Dragon. Like, this is the standard
And that's a great site. I mean, yeah.
stone
Sure.
dungeon.
And you know what? You can also, like, I know that Wylock,
Okay.
Wylock's Armory, or, yeah. I'm trying to think of his real name. It's William Buchanan, I think. But anyway, he writes modules and stuff too. But he uses this Papercraft, and he glues it on double corrugated cardboard.
Okay, well, that's what
You have all that detail, and you used a glue stick. It's like, yeah.
Fat Dragon, in their instructions, recommend that you put it to this stuff and then cut it out so it's heavier. I mean, and I'm like, I don't have any of that. I got a laminator, so I'm laminating stuff. But
I think this works just fine. I mean,
and that way I could draw on it. I could put my thing like that and like, okay, you got a corridor, the ogre's in the water, he's taking a bath. The party's going to come rushing down the hallway and surprise the ogre and make him mad.
One of my main complaints about the D&D tiles is that they are thick, and so when you do stack things that should be flat, they're not flat.
Okay.
And I know that's like just weird to me being nitpicky, but I'm like, why is that not flat?
Some OCD in there. That's kind of like me. I get that way. I've created a bunch of maps. I've created bigger maps, the big as this, and it gets kind of expensive because I'm making the proof. But I can go back and I want to be able to put those maps in this adventure that I'm writing. When it comes folded, it costs me nothing when I'm putting 500 of them together compared to the one. So it's just part of the whole thing that eventually this may take off. I'm not trying to...
Also, I mean, with those, like, theoretically, like, now, if you're, I think a lot of us are still using, I don't know, maybe it's just me, I am weird, but a lot of people are still using, like, I use a notebook. I don't put my notes on the computer or whatever, a lot of people do, but I don't really run modules, but when I stuff my stuff in a folder, but, like, with something like that, I could literally, like, 3-hole punch it and put it in a binder, and, like, it's right there in my binder, especially if you're running, like, stuff for conventions or whatever. You, like, that's priceless. I mean, to be able to stick it in literally where you're going to use it in your campaign, I mean...
So, I get you. I just use a notebook. Actually, it's an artist sketchbook. And all the pages are blank, and I just write my stuff in there, and I throw stuff in there, and I carry that around when I'm seriously gaming. Because, we were looking for rules that we're doing a consecration oath paladin, kind of based on a World of Warcraft. But we're testing it out, and I'm like, I couldn't find my rules the other night. It's in my notebook. Where's my notebook? Where did I leave it at? And it's buried under a bunch of the stuff the other night when we were trying to play. But I knew where it was at. I just couldn't find it.
Yeah.
But getting back to the train, I mean, that's 2D. 2D is awesome. It takes that game a little bit farther. Then you get the 3D Papercraft. This is just a fence from a palisade.
And you can totally mix and match these things.
And, yeah, I mean, I just had a bunch of it printed out, and I gave some away to a friend to try out and put together. But I put this one, you fold the ends, and it'll stand on its own. So you have a palisade, and the ogre's going to throw some goblins over it to get past it,
Sure.
Well, we got a fan blowing. So.
Yeah.
We do have a fan blowing in.
So, but this is like, you get the whole Ravenfell for like $7, and you get, I think, like 6 or 8 buildings a palisade with a main gate and these towers.
To be fair, like in order to like keep that standing and like not have to make any augmentations to it so that you can still put it flat, you could literally just run a screw through a washer and put the screw part up in there.
Yeah.
Put the bottom part down, and hey, it's standing, and we don't have to worry about the fan.
Right. But yeah, the fan. It's a little bit hot in here. We don't have AC in the basement.
It's hot.
But
But we're fine.
but this is it's very cheap. I mean, you can get it on Drive-Thru RPG.
Sure.
And Fat Dragon makes some good stuff. And Papercraft is now being done by Wizards of the Coast. They have the
Oh yeah, you bought the Icewind Dale stuff.
I
Right?
bought the Icewind Dale stuff and I packed it up for the move.
So is that tree from Icewind Dale or
No, that is
Okay.
actually the tree. You want to hand me that, Rob? This is from but I got it because this is Fat Dragon. I put it together the other night. But you can use it with Icewind Dale because it's part of their winter scene. And they have like I think 3 different fir trees or coniferous trees. And I put it together and it's like, hey, it's Papercraft. I mean, it costs
it's
me.
better than my own Papercraft when I do things like I know before like I started crafting all this. One time my players were in an airship and I needed I needed a hut and I flipped over the circle that I used for the airship and wrote hut on it and my players being cheeky as always were like, that hut looks suspiciously like an airship.
Now, when I'm at the stores and I see the box thing that says Dungeon Tiles, is this the kind of stuff that's in that box?
No. When you see the Wizards of the Coast Dungeon Tiles,
Okay.
you're going to see stuff like this. It's going to be 2D.
Oh, it's all flat stuff. It's not something you got to put together.
Right. No, it's
Okay.
all flat stuff.
Okay.
It'll be 2-sided. And you just lay them
Okay.
like you want.
Have you used any of the WizKids like Warlock tiles? Or
I do have some of the Warlock tiles. Not here. I like it. I like the...
How do they compare to the Fat Dragon? Because I mean, they look very similar.
They're the same scale, 2 by 2 inches square, with 5-inch blocks, or 1-inch blocks representing 5 feet.
Mm-hmm.
They have clips that will match up to them, so you can put them right up to them. Fat Dragon, Dungeon Works, Open Lock. Open Lock is like an open license. Printable Scenery does a lot of their stuff in Open Lock. Devin Jones on Thingiverse, he has all kinds of free stuff, and it uses the Open Lock clip system, which is it's really nice. I just don't even use clips anymore. I make everything modular. I just put it together
I
like.
feel like I'd be afraid that
Hand me that
clips would break,
piece right there. The other one, the one below it. I'm sorry.
Or I'd put magnets in the side or something. I don't know.
I was doing that. This is 9 separate pieces.
Uh-huh.
I just put it in mesh mixer and put them all together and printed it as one piece now.
Sure.
Put a little flocking on it. It's all spray paint, then a little bit of
Especially
craft.
if you're not gonna use it separately, why not put it all together?
You know, but I'm making this modular sewer stuff for the Elkhart Con.
Ooh, cool.
So I'll have a bunch of this on the table.
Hey, so could you have like theoretically, do you have like a piece that could go on top, like street level, with like a manhole or something?
Yes, I could.
Could you have a decapus like coming? Something nasty.
I could do all kinds of stuff.
Yeah.
I could. I own everything that Fat Dragon produces in the 3D print line except for their streams and their trees, because why don't I need their trees when I just could use these?
Well, so the Christmas trees, like, never underestimate the those little holiday villages
Right.
at the end of the year. You can get that stuff at the end of the season. So the Halloween ones, like I have a skull gazebo,
Okay.
and like I have some like Halloween like spooky gates and
Okay.
gravestones and stuff like that. Like the paint jobs suck. So you just if you
just
want
repaint them.
yeah, if you just give them a wash or whatever, a little touch up, and here they are. But yeah, so and then the Christmas trees are like, at least if you want that kind of tree, you might have to pay a little bit more for the other kind, but if you want pine trees and that kind of thing, you can get those super cheap at the
Okay.
end of Christmas. I have like probably 30 of them or whatever that I bought like super
Okay.
clearance.
Okay. So yeah, I mean, hit those craft stores up. There's so much there that people could use for your D&D terrain. Man, I used to love going to Hobby Lobby. Ever since I got rid of their 40% off coupon, I don't go there as much. Well, and it's a little bit of a drive for me now.
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah, but
we're
moving back.
We don't have one really in Elkhart. We don't have any kind of craft store that's like exclusively a craft store in our area either. So
This piece. Hand me that one. This is from Dragon Works. What does that look like to you?
it looks like a dungeon or a cellar or a. Actually,
He has been doing Curse of Strahd.
Oh.
This is the right half of the undercroft. The stairs come out. I've been printing in white, as you can see. I print in white because the colors take, but the stairs come out and you just drop them in. I'm going to repaint everything, but I just painted this color for the dirt. All the wood will be painted. This was the left hand or the right hand side. I've got the left side almost done. The last pieces on the printer, and then he's got the ground level and then the attic level. I hope to have this done by the Elkhart Con. And I also have I bought these files from him. This is, I mean, if you're into 3D printing, there is so much stuff out there.
There really is, and like creatures and stuff too. Really cool creatures, really cool original ideas and stuff.
They do have a lot of stuff that is lit up with LEDs. Dungeon Works, for this, they have, he's got a light system that hangs in the roof, so the light casts down, and you get the indirect lighting through the other levels. And you've got it to where the second floor, you can make it ruined or unruined. He's got the Argy's Castle from Curse of Strahd.
Is this a recent painting? I can smell the paint.
Yeah, I just painted this week.
Okay.
With some cheap Walmart aerosol, not aerosol, but spray can. But yeah, it'll get covered. I'm going to put flocking here, and then paint the wood. But this is the next step up from Papercraft 3D printing. It's not Dwarven Forge.
Sure.
But I like it because it gives me the exact building. Because to me, Curse of Strahd in 5e is probably, my opinion only, the best. And this one goes just like this. And the best printed module by Wizards. And this allows you to get this. He's also done Argent Holt, whatever the heck that name is called. He's done the Bone Grinder, the Windmill of the Three Hags, and also Death House, all 4 levels.
Ooh.
Yeah, I look forward to get back to where we can finish the module, because I've only done small parts of Strahd, and I haven't done the complete thing yet. So
I've seen some people do that windmill, make that windmill too. And
I have the Fat Dragon Windmill, and it looks really good.
So cool.
But his is like the Dragon Works is from the artwork itself. I mean, it looks like it's got that. What is that? The Russian turn-up shape bulbs. You see on their spot. It has that. So it's really good. I'm going to try to have a lot of it done. I just get these printers up and running. That elephant-looking thing there. This the other one to the right, left. I'm sorry, left.
There's multiple elephants.
This is the Juggernaut.
Okay.
Off of Thingiverse from Tomb of Horrors.
Cool.
So you've got this hallway in Tomb of Horrors that all these crushed bones are on.
Yeah.
And this goes down it. So, I mean, and it's like, there's only like an inch or two on either side of the wall. So your player characters can't get by it. But, I'm not even using walls. I'm just using tiles here. I don't have to have walls. But this thing goes down it, and it's going downhill. And your players have to outrun it. I mean, free.
Wylock made the entire Tomb of Horrors, went through that. If you ever are feeling froggy, to watch somebody craft all of that.
I might be interested to see what he craft, because there are things from Tomb of Horrors that are like, oh, that would be cool if I had that for the game.
Yeah, and I mean, just a lot of it is Papercraft stuff that he winds up, and he mixes, media too. So it's
okay. But it's free from Thingiverse. These are Fat Dragon tiles with magnet bases. You don't have to use the magnet bases, but I use them because I'm experimenting, and
also magnets are convenient.
So like this thing goes down the hallway and then it actually turns and goes down the other one. But this is Fat Dragon. This is DragonWorks. This over here. But you can butt them up to each other. You can put Dwarven Forge in here. You could put Open Lock, Infinity Lock by DungeonWorks. It all uses the 2-inch by 2-inch square. So you could use them with each other to get the perfect look or the feel that you're trying to convey to your players. This piece costs, once you have the printer and the filament, this piece costs about 40 cents to make. 40 cents.
If you have a printer, I don't have a printer. But,
And any guy selling to you, I'm breaking you guys, I'm breaking their balls on eBay. Guys are selling this 2-inch by 2-inch tile for $2 a piece on eBay. I'll sell them to you for 50 cents a piece just to make you happy. I'm not trying to, you know what I'm saying? It's just
no,
I'm not going to paint it. That's up to you, but still, I will sell it cheap just not because I want your business, it's because I want you to up your game. I want your players to have the best experience. He
wants to always have players and other DMs that he can play in their game.
Exactly.
We know the truth.
But if you, as a DM, if you come up with all these cool props, your players are always going to want to come back to your table.
And
then they bring you stuff.
Exactly. Especially if you aren't taking a cardboard circle and saying that it's an airship and then
But it works. But they come back. But it's like, and they bring you stuff like, oh, you're bringing the chips this week? Awesome.
Yeah.
You got the salsa?
Yes.
Awesome. I'm eating for free. I'm telling you the joke. Well, I'm not eating for free. You're using my stuff, but,
And you might ruin it for first-time players. They come and see all this stuff, and then they expect all their games with other DMs to be the same way.
Yeah, this is like the Matt Mercer effect, but it's not Matt Mercer. It's the terrain effect.
Well, honestly, so I played a lot of games Theater of the Mind. Like, I've done a lot of gaming Theater of the Mind, too. Not just because I started with that, but because, in the 90s, I played a lot of vampire and stuff, and a lot of that was Theater of the Mind. And we also didn't have anything for a modern setting at all. Like, you had nothing, even less than... and now it's still, modern or sci-fi settings are harder to find, but you can find them. And
a lot of these guys are making sci-fi... ship corridors and the tiles to make the rooms.
So what's the other one? Dungeons and Lasers. Like, I backed their Kickstarter, their first one. So I have a bunch of the Dungeons and Laser stuff, which also will work with this stuff.
Okay.
It's the same size.
Right.
But I did it expressly because they had a bunch of sci-fi stuff, and I was like,
okay.
I don't know when I'm going to run a sci-fi game, but I want some cool stuff for when I do.
If you're into D&D, but still... if you go with Expedition to the Barrier Peaks, which has been rewritten for 5th edition, you just have some artwork in there. But hey, I need a corridor from a spaceship.
Exactly.
There you go.
Exactly, and it fits right in. They have dungeon tiles and stuff too. Obviously, this is more cost effective. So, if you have a 3D printer, that's definitely more cost effective. If you and it's the same quality. Okay, that sci-fi stuff is pretty badass. Like, I should have probably brought some so you could see it. But it's really, really super detailed and really cool and everything. It's definitely a different vibe than Dungeon Tiles. But on the other hand, the Dungeon Tiles are Dungeon Tiles. There's not much of a difference between, how the Fat Dragons look, how the Warlock tiles will look, and there's a significant price difference.
Oh yeah,
as you're saying, So,
I like the Warlock tiles. Don't get me wrong. I like the fact that you could make a wall halfway through this without going into mesh mixer, or other file changing programs, and making one. All I gotta do is just take this thing and slide it in there, and bam, I have a wall going down the middle of this 10 by 10. So I got a 5 by 5 corridor on either side. I really like that, and the fact that they understand that Fat Dragon's a player out there, Open Lock is a player out there, and we're gonna make our stuff compatible with them. The only time that I seem to find an issue is actually with the Dwarven Forge stuff. Some people, like, hey, they are strictly Dwarven Forge, and they will not touch this stuff. It's not Dwarven Forge. I don't want it.
Some of the best spreads that I've seen that included Dwarven Forge used a bunch of other stuff too.
Yeah, because
Monster Fight Club, I've
got some of it. I like it.
Man, those are great looking, and they're painted right out of the box. They're painted. This is top quality stuff.
Yeah.
And not to poo-poo on the WizKid stuff, because it is absolutely really good too. But it's just like, it's a different thing, and you can put them all together. Like those trees, the tops of the trees come off, and then you just have this like dead tree, and that's awesome. I mean, just that little thing made me go, oh, yay! That's so cool!
Oh, I get it. I just was just like, when I first got into the terrain, it would just seem like there was like, it's Dwarven Forge or nothing. I like the Dwarven Forge stuff. I own quite a bit of it now from their latest
I own 0.
Kickstarter. I bought it through Amazon, and I bought a few pieces that I liked off eBay. But what I hate about is the fact it's like, okay, these guys are out there manipulating the price. Well, this is stuff from 2 years ago. Can't get that anymore, and they're manipulating the price. Well, I want a cool piece. Well, I can't pay $150 for this piece. Oh, look, Fat Dragon makes something closer, or Dungeon Works makes something closer. I mean, I could buy a printer and some filament and print that piece.
And printers are like cheaper now than they have ever been.
I just bought my Ender 5 for like $220.
Yeah, no.
It prints 8 by 8 by 12. I could print a lot of stuff. I print dice towers.
You can. If you have the money for Dwarven Forge and you don't have the time to do all that painting and stuff, then do that. If you want to do that, that's fine. You do you. But like, and the WizKid stuff too. I mean, that stuff is totally playable right out of the box. Like
yes.
The pre-painted stuff is.
I mean, totally I bought their.
I'm addicted to these stupid blind boxes, as you know.
This come from the 6-piece set.
That's the 6-piece set. Okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm addicted to the dumb blind boxes. I can't even. I'm just like, I want to. What is in it?
Yeah. I'm still waiting to find a Death Knight from the Boneyard. So, but I've got 8 of them at home at the other house, unopened yet. So, let's go with the Baba Yaga. Oh. You wanna? Now the house is 3 pieces. So yeah, just pick up the bottom and that'll be good. Fat Dragon makes this Baba Yaga.
Oh, there's a light on the inside. I just know.
Yes.
I noticed that.
There is the chimney lights up also, but I don't have the light in it. I only have 1 bulb.
What's the movement speed for Baba Yaga's hut?
I think it can move faster than we can.
Well, the eyeball. Oh.
But it is the top piece comes off, and there is a LED light in there with the light you got to provide and the battery. But there's a holder that you print out. The top comes off. It's 1 solid piece, but it has the light, and you have to add the shutters, and then add the top of the chimney.
No.
Then you have the floor level.
Oh, I was so hoping that was going to happen, and then it did.
And then you have inside a fireplace, and there'll be a light in there, so the fireplace closed, and then you have to put the shutters and the door in. The door opens. So this is something I've been bugging Tom Tullis about forever. I refer to myself as Baba Yaga. When I talk to him, I go, hey, Tom, it's Baba Yaga. I want this thing. And he's like, the first time I approached him about it, he was like, no, I don't know. If we got to make sure we're going to be able to sell stuff. Well, his latest Kickstarter, I was bugging him like, man, when you get Baba Yaga? He's got this old crone mini that is in his Kickstarter. I'm like, what about Baba Yaga's hut? Come on. So finally, he makes this as the last stretch goal. And I'm like, yes! And he finally delivered it a couple weeks ago. And I'm like, I got to print it out. Nice. So I printed it out. I had a little problem on my printer. I ran out of filament at about halfway up, a little over halfway. I changed it out, and it shifted just a little bit. But
whatevs, it's fine.
But what's cool about you don't have to glue that on there. You could just leave this hut, like when the people show up, the hut isn't moving. Or you could just use it as a regular house. You know, you don't have to put the eyeball on
It has
there.
a suspicious-looking eyeball.
You know, you can leave that off.
Didn't we fight this thing in some module or
Wait,
something?
Oh, Crystal Stride.
That's what I
Does
thought.
it actually come off?
No, it's glued on there now.
Yeah, I remember.
But you don't have. I mean,
Okay.
it's printed flat, and you glue it on.
When you pulled this over here, I was thinking, you know, like I think I would try to use one of like I have some giant bag of glass eyes that I had with, you know.
Oh, you
they
could
just look super awesome.
How about one of them ones from the fake dolls that they put all over stuff now?
Yeah.
The goofy ones that.
Oh, googly eyed.
Yeah.
rattle.
But this
It's
was.
like Hey from Moana meets Baba Yaga's.
But
randomly like tips over.
it has playability too, which is, you know, if you want to confront
Yeah.
Baba Yaga in her hut, you can.
Probably shouldn't, but hey.
When we went through Curse of Strahd, she was quite easily defeated.
Anybody still with us? I'm glad you're still. It's been over hour plus for the show, so
Oh
this is
my
our
God.
longest one yet. So
Yeah,
thumbs up to you for being still with us.
and we're still not done.
Nobody,
We're close.
Nobody
we're close.
should have invited me. we should have done 2 sessions.
I don't mind doing an hour long or a longer show because there's so much to talk about in upping your game. It's just, these are just little few things. But this was from Fat Dragon Games. You have to buy this on their
good.
drive-through RPG. I think that's out of sight from the camera. And hand me the other white building. It's a 3-piecer.
Oh my gosh, look at this tutor.
This is a
So good.
Olvheim. This is free.
Yeah, you can see through the windows.
This is free. It's got a lot of stringing on it because I haven't cleaned it up yet.
Nobody cares. You can see through the windows.
Got the lattice windows.
You can see
yeah.
through the lattice windows.
But the roof comes off,
Yeah.
and you have a playable second level, which you can put scattered terrain, a bed, dresser, whatever you want in it, and windows that you could see through, as Mandy has said. And then you have, this is the merchant's house, free on Thingiverse. There's like 5 or 6 buildings free from the Olvheim line. It's got torches at the door, a porch inside where you can put stuff for sale, a fireplace. It doesn't light up though, but this was free, and it's printed in 3 pieces. It's a thing to up your game if you want to do a little village.
Somebody out there's playing. Oh, they're playing with Gothic doll houses.
Hey,
And
You're right.
That's something that I was going to mention too, though. I mean, there are plenty of children's toys out there that you can find, especially this time of year, garage sales.
Yes.
Oh.
Here's Ken and Barbie's house, but this is where the dressing room where they did all the tricks.
you buy a house, you buy a toy house, a kid's house. I'm like, okay,
Especially like anything that's like Playmobil or what are the Imaginext? Is that the ones that are like?
my kids are all in their 20s.
I know. Mine too.
Sorry.
Mine too.
Sorry.
I'm just also a child, but yeah, there's some cool stuff out there. Like, I mean, some of it is not cheap though, but that's why I cite garage sales.
Right, but you find and if you want to save more money,
I'm poor, so this
okay,
is why I'm trying to save everybody else.
you buy some stuff at garage sale or Goodwill or Salvation Army,
Sure,
wherever,
sure.
thrift stores, and you're like, okay, my D&D mini is a little too small or a little too big. If you know somebody with a 3D printer, you can scale up the minis.
Wink,
Like
wink, nudge.
these are Dungeon Works skeletons.
Cool.
That one at standard size.
Sure.
I can print them at half size to the 15 millimeter.
Mhm.
I can print them at 3 times the size, twice the size. I can scale it 1.5, whatever percent I want to match this toy that I picked up. So like, well, I don't want my figures to look kind of out of scale. I can change stuff if I want to. I can take this and scale him up 3 times. I now have a Frost Giant skeletal figure.
Sure.
And these are all printed with resin. I went crazy with the resin printers just for minis.
They look great though. The figures that you had printed for me.
And they cost, honestly, they cost me about 25-30 cents worth of resin to print. I just printed
nuts.
18 today on one
I need a
fill
3D
plate.
printer.
Lizard Man.
Yep. This is an old lizard man from one of
Ethan's character in my game. There.
Adorable.
Based on the 1E lizard men.
Yeah. You can tell they're very upright.
But I can print those, and the detail is well on them. I don't prime a lot of them because I don't want to waste the money on priming stuff that I might give away. I'll let someone else worry about their painting preferences. And last thing I want to show is this ship, which is all one piece. This was off Thingiverse. I didn't print the lower hull. It's supposed to be about this high off the ground. Because I'm like, I don't need the cargo hold. And what I kind of screwed up when I built it, though, is like the cargo hold pieces, I'm like a 1/4 inch off.
I see.
But it's a ship. Free. Thingiverse. You have the captain's quarters, you have the foredeck and the hold underneath it. So if you want to have combat there, you can have combat on the foredeck, the aft deck, and there's supposed to be a wheel that I left it in another box, but there's a that goes here. The mast, as far as the mast goes, because for free, I mean, you don't need to be they're giving you a free ship as it is, so you can
just get it.
And I have the rest of that. It's still on.
Any random skeleton thing at the end of Halloween and googly eyes. Done.
Well, it comes out to about here, and it's got a dragon's mouth on it, and it looks kind of cool. But I just didn't want to put it on.
Than whatever.
Well, I got the falling star, but but this is the stuff. I mean, you can use a 2D printed ship. I mean, Tom has them, and I know there's. I keep referring to Tom because he's the guy that I buy stuff from. I know there's other ones. They have 2D, but they have ships. You can have 3D printed ships. You could use a toy. Lego. I know a lot of people that use Lego.
Yeah, Lego's really good scale. Lego minifigures are actually really close to their regular D&D scale. So.
Well, the fact is, but they made the Lord of the Rings line.
Yeah.
And so you have orcs,
really cool stuff,
and you have all these creatures, which is cool. And then if you get the not Lego, the stuff from China, they're making stuff that just out of the blue, you can get anything you want. And, a Lego, I got a Lego board, and I got some blocks. I make a dungeon wall, and you fight some orcs. And it's just like, you could up your game with Lego. So this is just some cool stuff that's out there for people.
Do it all.
I'm doing it all. I mean, that's the thing is I've got 2D stuff, 3D Papercraft. I got 3D printed stuff. I've got Dwarven Forge. The only thing I don't have is the old cast stuff with plaster.
Oh yeah, I was gonna say I do have plaster cast stuff too. Yeah.
What is that? What's that main brand called?
I will something molds.
I can't remember. I'm having a brain fart here, man.
I don't know, but they some of that stuff. If you got the there was the light plastic stuff. I know. Yeah, I think there is one that's Hearst mold.
The Hearst, you get Hearst molds. You get the molds and you pour it in there with a plaster type stuff.
There's something like that, and then there was also it was almost like it was some kind of plaster, I swear, but it felt like ceramic or whatever. But those pieces are super heavy. I have a temple that's I think it's called magic molds or whatever. But I have dungeon tiles like that too. Who would use this stuff? It's 1,000 pounds. I'm not going to lug that around.
When I first wanted to get in a dungeon train, I was looking at Hearst. And I was like, I have a friend that's into gaming, and he's got a bunch of the molds. And I'm like, I went over, so I checked this stuff out. And I'm like, I like this stuff. It was just heavy. I'm like, well, my ass is clumsy. If I drop this, I broke it, And I'm like, I got to keep gluing stuff. I want something that's going to.
Yeah, that temple has been broken so many times because the pillars hold up this really heavy. I mean, it looks cool as hell, and especially then, all we had was cardboard stuff, or like I told you, not even good looking cardboard dungeon tiles, but to have this one 3D thing because whenever you're having combat and stuff, and you have another dimension, man, it changes the dynamic.
Yeah, when you go to that, hey, I'm left and I'm right. Now I'm going up. You know, like
It also gives them features to maybe work off of, like, hey, this if this is a pile of rocks, can I push it down? You know, can I try to impale this guy or like get him stuck between these ice spires? I don't know.
it definitely like this ogre's in a fight, and he swings, and
the rogue is like, nope.
and he swings at this guy, and he hits the icicle instead, you know,
Sure.
and throws shards that hit the lizard man who's sneaking up behind him, you know, and it just brings so much more to the game that people could be missing out on. I'm not looking for your sales. I'm not even going to link you to the stuff that I sell. I just want you to have a good game, a better game, and I want you to be informed.
And I want you to recycle while having a good game.
Yeah, go green. Not Michigan State green, but just go green.
I will tell you that there is trash inside of here, like
To make it so it doesn't crush?
Just because, like, I was like, there's an empty hole. Let me shove all of the trash that's down in there, like all the little stupid cuttings.
It's not in a landfill,
Yeah.
but you know it
And it
works.
has some weight.
There's some weight to it. As long as your kids don't throw it away when it's too late, you know. I mean,
When I
that's
die.
when I die, it's like I can like imagine what my wife's gonna do with all of it. This is only a third of what I owed, you know.
The Craigslist or Facebook Marketplace.
Oh, there you go. These are these are tea leaves. I use tea leaves and pencil shavings. You can use for like additional flock gradients.
You can use oregano too, but my cousin would probably smoke it.
Yeah.
My cousin smoked oregano when we were kids.
I did that
Shout
one
out
time,
to
too.
Tim's cousin who
Did
smoked
that when I was a
oregano
kid,
when they were
yeah, right.
kids and now is publicly
My
humiliated. because
stepdad said, something, figure something. Well, I get you the real stuff if you want.
But hey, I'm glad you. I hope you stuck around.
made it for an hour and
Yes,
whatever.
Thank you for staying here. Yeah.
I mean, it was a good show. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you can take something away from it. All right, thank you, and see you next time.
Yep. Love you guys.
Where's the remote?
Over.
Yeah, I'll get up and. Damn it, I hope it all took.
Now I get something to drink.
That would suck if that did not go.
Oh my gosh.
Well, your guy never came back.
No, you all I had to do is drop off the tray.